What are some signs that you may be going through awakening? Or sometimes referred to as a spiritual awakening? Or more properly, what are some signs that you may be approaching awakening, or that awakening is something that is starting to unfold in your life? Are there common signs? Are there commonalities among people who are primed for this process or approaching awakening? I would say yes. In my experience, there are. The only thing about that is people use different words for the same things, and some of what we're going to talk about is subtle, or it's not a common thing to talk about. It's not necessarily in the social communication code for humans in a way that makes it something people talk about every day. So it can be somewhat obscure. So just understand what I'm pointing to is more like a sense of something going on, more like a sense of an experience you're having, rather than a very structured conceptual framework or something like that. This is more of a feel thing. So if you feel into this and it really resonates or it starts to make sense for you, then you may well be approaching awakening. You may be ready to start to dig in a very direct way. With that said, here are some of the commonalities I see among people who are primed to wake up. And these things could have been going on for many years. They're often not new experiences necessarily, but they often are overlooked experiences, or we rationalize them, or we just forget about them. But they can be quite profound and interesting and revealing in the moment, and then somehow we just get back into our busy mind and sort of forget about them. So another purpose of doing this is that bringing these aspects of experience up may trigger something in you that says, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that period of my life, or I remember that moment. And I didn't realize that was actually a breadcrumb, something that's pointing me deeper into experience, potentially. But as you feel into this more and more, you might find that these experiences become more frequent, or things do open up so you can feel into your experience in the moment in a deeper way. And you're interested in doing that. So that's kind of the overall reason for making this video. So one of the things I find that's common among people who are prone to awakening or waking up is that they feel like something is just not right. Something's just not right about the universe, or about life, or about yourself. Now, the third case, something not being right about yourself, is so common that we have that perception. It's sort of built into our thoughts and our communication style and our activities, distractions, etc., that it almost feels quite normal. It feels like that's just how this has to be, or that's how this is. So be aware when I say that the sense of something being wrong is a sign of awakening, especially with you. Be aware that the first time you hear this, it may not actually feel like that. You may notice your mind saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I'm doing great. And that's fine. Those are thoughts, of course. But sometimes later on, it'll hit in a different way of like, whoa, yeah, I do feel anxious a lot of the time. I feel uncomfortable, out of sorts. I feel like I have to prove myself, defend myself. I feel like I have to get somewhere. I feel like I always have to mess with everything in my life to try to make it better so I can feel a little more relaxed or settled or happy. All of those are signs that there is this underlying belief that something's not right, or feeling that something's not right. Not right with me, not right with the world, not right with life. But the sort of pervasive experience of not all right, that is a very common thread in people who are waking up. Another one I hear in different forms, which is an interesting thing to talk about, but it's reasonably common, is people will say, I feel like an alien in my own life. I feel like I don't belong here, or I don't know how to be a person in the way everybody else seems to know how to be a person. Knowing what to talk about, knowing what to be interested in, even knowing how to move sometimes. That feeling of just being foreign in your own life or alien in your own life. That's a sign that you may be wanting to address a deeper living truth. You might want to start to breach the veils of identity and find out who or what is actually here at the center of your experience. That's number 2. Number 3 is a sort of curiosity that goes beyond an intellectual curiosity about the nature of the universe, about the nature of life, about the nature of experience, about the nature of suffering, and ultimately about the nature of identity. You. Who are you? What are you? What is all of this? Those kinds of questions, if they really feel juicy to you, more than just some intellectual, daydreamy sort of curiosity, but something tangible, visceral, real, like you really want to address that, you just don't know how. That kind of curiosity. I would say that's the 3rd sign. These are in no particular order, by the way. But 3rd sign that awakening may be something that's either already happening or something you may want to dig deeper into. The 4th sign that you may be waking up, interested in awakening, primed for it, etc., would be that the usual things you do in life, the usual activities, your responsibilities, relationships, work, hobbies, sports, all of it, all the things you spend time and effort on, they just don't satisfy deeply. They may be satisfying at various levels. They may be intermittently satisfying and intermittently difficult, but they don't satisfy at the deepest level, and something in you knows it. Even the most structured and emotionally connected and functional and etc. sort of relationship doesn't really fundamentally satisfy you. Or a job you love, you have passion for, it pays well, you like the people you work with, you have good managers, whatever, and yet it doesn't deeply satisfy you. Same with hobbies. You enjoy hobbies, you enjoy pastimes, but something about them is just not fully satisfying or satisfying at the deepest level. This is the 4th sign that awakening may be something you're interested in. And the 5th would be something more direct and literal. You are resonating with the ideas of awakening, enlightenment, Kensho, Buddhism, Hinduism, Advaita Vedanta, Christian mysticism. There's something in these perhaps traditions, or let's call them doctrines, that really resonates deeply with you. Not an intellectual curiosity like, oh, enlightenment sounds interesting, let me read everything about it. But more like, what is it? What is that? And how does it apply to me? That kind of interest and curiosity about awakening and enlightenment itself and the historical ways of describing it is a pretty good sign that it's something that's happening for you, maybe playing out even if you don't notice it. You may be in the sort of precursor stages of awakening. And the 6th sign that you may be waking up or interested in waking up, energetically interested in waking up, that it may be moving in your life already, is a sort of summary of the other 5, but it is suffering. You're just suffering, unnecessarily suffering, meaning you can see the things that cause physical pain or emotional difficulty. You see the losses of life, the gains of life, the ups and downs. And yet, even though all those things seem to be happening, there's something about your experience that's just not working. It's causing this ongoing background experience of suffering, of not right, of I'm not okay, of struggle, putting tons of effort into things that you're not fully understanding even why you're putting so much effort into them, and then they're unsatisfying in the end. No matter what you do to make yourself feel better, you feel this pervasive doubt hanging around. Suffering, feeling distanced from life, feeling small and discreet and apart from everything around you. This is what I mean by suffering. And similar to number one, this is so pervasive that it's sort of normal, unfortunately. It's taken to be normal. In Buddhism, there's the Four Noble Truths. The first one is essentially life is suffering, or life as we usually live it is suffering. Now, if something in you says, there's got to be a different way, that's good news, because there is. That's the whole point of this series, this channel, and my book. So, those are 6 signs that you may well be waking up in the middle of an awakening, or just primed for it, but very much at the early stages of engaging this process. Good luck, and I wish you fruition.